Hi, my name is Michaela Blyde. I'm part of the Blackfern Sevens, and you are watching the Women's Rugby Show.
Hello, and welcome back to the Women's Rugby Show. I'm Sam Barther. I'm here today with a Commonwealth Games preview special. The 2022 Commonwealth Games kick off with the opening ceremony in Birmingham tomorrow, and the Rugby Sevens kicks off on Friday, ends on Sunday. Well, we're actually going to be there on Sunday. I thought we'd give you a little bit of a preview video, just previewing the two pools, the ones to watch, and also what we think may happen as well. Before you get into the video, make sure you like the video, subscribe to us on YouTube, and also check us out across all social medias. We've done all that. Well, let's get into this one. So the Commonwealth Games format this year is exactly the same as it was 4 years ago on the Gold Coast, with the majority of the teams even being the same, with Scotland and Sri Lanka coming in for Wales and Kenya. Before we take a deeper look at the teams and all those all-important players to watch in each of those teams, the groups for this year's tournament are as follows. In Pool A, we have defending champions New Zealand, Canada, who had finished in 4th place 4 years ago, host England, and minnows Sri Lanka. In Pool B, there's 2018 silver medalist and this year's World Series winners Australia, Tokyo bronze medalist Fiji, home nation Scotland, and South Africa, who complete the group. Let's begin our look at Pool A, and first up we have the almighty New Zealand, the defending Commonwealth, World Cup and Olympic champions, and they come to Birmingham stacked with their superstars. Led by the legendary Sarah Harini, 10 of their squad were gold medalists in Tokyo, with 2 more travelling reserves. In fact, only Ruby Tui and Gail Broughton miss out from Japan, and 10 of the players in this 13-man squad were also gold medalists 4 years ago in the Gold Coast. Alongside the talismanic Harini in this squad, they have the experience of Brazier and Williams, as well as Portia Woodman and Stacey Fleuler, who've dabbled in a return to 15s last year. But the one to watch from me is Michaela Blyde. Despite being one of the bigger names in the squad, Blyde is integral to the success of the New Zealand Sevens. She scored a try in the final 4 years ago, 6 tries in Tokyo on the way to the gold medal, and 15 tries in just 12 matches in this year's 7 series. Sensational talent for a sensational side. Next up in Pool A, we have Canada, who come to this year's game lacking the experience they had in Tokyo last year. They had a disappointing tournament, only finishing 9th. A disappointment they actually carried on to this year's World Series, where they didn't finish higher than 5th in any of their tournaments, and that took when they finished 5th was only once, and that was in their home tournament of Langford. Just 4 of the side from Tokyo make up the 13 here in Birmingham, with Pamphoneti Buisa, Brianne Nicholas, Bianca Farella and Kiara Wardley being those 4 players, and they were the ones who played in Tokyo. And from them, just Nicholas and Farella were here in the Gold Coast 4 years ago. There's even a full debutant in the side, with Piper Logan receiving her full international call-up, her first as well. But despite this, they do have some 15s experience, which could kind of prove vital eventually, and could help them in this series, with Buisa and Gonzalez, Renee Gonzalez that is, both participated in the recent Pacific Four Nations series, as well as last year's tour to England. Moving on to the host England, and it's another Pool A side that actually lacks experience, who's gone down the route of youth for this Games. They are led by the duo of Meg Jones and Abby Brown, who along with Amy Wilson-Hardy, are the only 3 players remaining from the winning bronze 4 years ago in the Gold Coast. Despite the lack of experience, however, there is a serious amount of quality in this side, with Premier 15 players throughout the side, and the England caps of Cowell, Brown, Jones and Wilson-Hardy respectively. There's also the searing pace of Grace Crompton, which will cause nuisance to any side, including that of New Zealand. And there's also the interesting story of Isla Norman Bell, who went to university in New Zealand, played in the Farah Palmer Cup over there, and even represented New Zealand at the World School Games before making a move over to England via Sydney. The last team in Pool A are the Minnows of Sri Lanka, who qualified for the Games via the 2021 Asia Women's Sevens tournament out in Dubai, where they finished 6th. But they were the highest ranked Commonwealth country, therefore qualifying for this Games. I must admit, it's actually tough to find a lot about the Sri Lankan side, apart from an interview I found where Captain Anusha Atanyaki spoke about how their goal is to improve in this tournament and to improve their own game and reduce the losing margin against the more superior teams. I made a little prediction for this group. I think it's easy to predict than Pool B. My prediction is that New Zealand will top the pool with 3 quite comfortable wins, actually, with England coming second after beating Canada and Sri Lanka, and obviously then Canada finishing 3rd and Sri Lanka finishing in 4th. Moving on to Pool B, we start with 2018 silver medalist Australia, who look to go one better this time. The squad mix between experience and youth, but still stacked with skill and ability. 9 of their squad were in Tokyo last year, with 4 of them also winning silver medalists in the Gold Coast 4 years ago, including co-captains Charlotte Caslick and Demi Hayes. Cassett was one of the standouts of this year's Seven Series, where she came out as a total impact player across the tournament, as well as running in 31 tries, with teammate Faith Nathan running in 29, 21 of which came in her last 19 matches, which is staggering to score that many in that short space of time. But the ones to watch for us, the Australian side, are the Levi sisters, Madison and Tegan. Both sisters turned down deals on the AFLW despite being drafted to the Gold Coast Suns, and Madison actually playing for the Gold Coast Suns in order to commit to Rugby Australia, a deal which Madison initially turned down in 2020 before jumping back over for last year's Olympics. Madison set an AFL draft combine record before she was drafted, and Tegan was drafted at number 6. Both are tall, fast and powerful, and be a real weapon for Australia, both in 7s and 15s, not just for now, but also for the future. Alongside Australia in Pool B is Tokyo bronze medalists Fiji, who come to Birmingham looking to go better than they did last time in the Commonwealth when they finished 5th 4 years ago. Just 4 of that squad return, however, but 8 of their Tokyo bronze medalists are here in Birmingham, including the sensation that is Riapi Ulinisau, who was described by Rob Vickerman recently as their not-so-secret weapon. I think that's a perfect description. Ulinisau was electric in Tokyo, scoring 8 tries across the tournament, and carried that form into this year's World Series, scoring 18 tries, leading Fiji to an impressive 3rd-place finish. Watch out for the Fijiana in Birmingham. The second home nation at this year's Commonwealth Games is Scotland, and despite this being their first Commonwealth Games women's sevens tournament, they are a side to watch in my opinion. Scotland's side is packed with a wealth of international experience, and a side which is growing on the pitch in the 15s, and the close-knit nature of the group will only help aid them in sevens. There are numerous ones to watch in this side, including co-captains Lisa Thompson and Helen Nelson, alongside prolific try scorer Rona Lloyd. But the 2 I'd keep an eye on are 2 of their young guns, that's Shona Campbell and Meryl Smith, who both rose to prominence over this year's Six Nations window. Campbell really impressed me when we made the journey up to Edinburgh in that first Six Nations game, which came off on the bench from about 54 minutes onwards and really impressed with Scotland. And also Meryl Smith, who was a standout performer when I saw her run the show for Edinburgh in the Bucks Super Rugby final at Six Ways. They didn't win that game, but she really shone in that one. The final team we need to look at is the women's box of South Africa, who have been led for the first time by Sipho Pliaches. South Africa came 8th last time out in Australia, and that was actually last in the tournament. But they've grown so much as a nation since then, both in 7s and 15s, and with just 2 players returned from that 2018 squad, in Unathi Mali and Mathurin Simmers. We also have international 15s caps in the side, courtesy of Felissa Jacobs, who had a strong showing for Western Province throughout their domestic season this year, so she'll be hoping to bring that into this tournament and can be a weapon for the South Africans. Like I said before in our Pool B prediction, Pool B is one of the, I think it's the harder of the 2 pools to predict, but I think that Scotland and Fiji can both have the ability to shock Australia, and South Africa are a bit of an unknown package in this tournament. They could cause issues for all 3 sides. So there we have it. That is our Commonwealth Games preview. Thank you for watching. And if you're going to the tournament this weekend, make sure you tag us in all your pictures on your stories. Enjoy it all. And if you see us there on Sunday, make sure you come across and say hi as well. It would be lovely to chat to you. Thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you again soon as we probably give you a roundup video of the Commonwealth Games and also a roundup next week of all the Premier 15s transfers so far, because blimey, there's been a lot of them, hasn't there? Cheers and bye.